today. So before I move forward, what I'd like to be able to do is take some of that confusion out, but do so in a way that might add a little confusion to the equation. So we've got a few questions here on the next slide. Or let me go ahead and do this. I'm going to introduce us, right?
Sure.
I'm Sherry Wolf, and I've been with Dallas Capital Bank for about 4 years. Got a lot of experience in the banking and the commercial world in regards to just helping clients navigate services and account types. So love the business, love to be able to be here to serve you and the community.
And hello, everyone. My name is Jennifer Salz. I have been in banking, I want to say 18 or 19 years. So my experience, I come from a lot of the big bank world. I've worked at Bank of America, Wells Fargo, BBVA Compass, and I have been here with Dallas Capital Bank. We consider ourselves a very small boutique bank. It's very different from the big bank world, and we love it. Yeah. Drastically different. But I work mostly with business customers as well as consumer clients, just helping them with any bank needs that they have and just providing any type of concierge service that they need as well. So Enjoy what I do, and hopefully we can share some good information with you guys today.
So before we get started today, we wanted to kind of throw some even more confusion into the mix. So we're going to go through this pretty quickly, but I thought it might be kind of fun because sometimes when you look at the numbers, it's really surprising. So our first question is, how many unique brands, bank brands, do you think there are in Dallas? So some of the 46, 160, or 592. I was a little bit surprised by this number, so I won't hang here very long, but the idea that kind of stuck out to me is that it was 160 different brands. So, it used to be that we all knew the bank around the corner. So we always really navigated to that bank because our parents banked there, or, It was friends. We got a great rate there. So there's a lot to navigate here. So the next question is, how much money do you think you need to open a bank account, right? So $5, $500 minimum balance, or how do you like this one? It depends. Right. Okay. So I gave it away. That's an easy. You don't get any points for that. It depends. And we're going to really kind of break that down for you a little bit and help navigate that. So, and then the last thing is, do I have to go into a physical bank to open an account? You remember those days when your mom would drag you down to the bank and you'd have to be there and you'd be looking at kind of all these different bank options, right? So it's a simple yes or no. And I think you guys got this all right. We're not trying to be too tricky, are we? So
no.
Absolutely not. So we're going to then kind of work through all of these questions to kind of get a better sense of that, right?
Yep.
And our first category will be why use a bank? Does it make sense? Why wouldn't you? Mm-hmm. And we're just going to try and break that down for you. So
I would say there's so many different reasons on why you would use a bank. I think the most important thing is to make sure that you have money in a safe place, right? So a lot of times, growing up, you have your piggy banks where you would keep all of your coin and your cash and keep that in your home. Well, as you get older, you have more responsibilities, you have bills, you have things that you need to pay. So finding the right bank for you and what your needs are is very important. And keeping your assets in a bank so that way they are safe in the event that anything happens and you have access to them. I would say is probably the most important thing to make sure that you have. Also, I would say it's important to have a bank, would you say, to have that flexibility of being able to access your cash, right? So say, for example, you are out to dinner with a friend and you decide to split the check, and someone actually ends up paying the whole bill, the entire bill, but you want to reimburse them. Well, then you can access your Zelle from your bank account and then transfer the money over very easily. So you didn't have any cash with you, and transfer those funds over to your friend to reimburse them. Also, very important thing is being able to purchase things online. I mean, a lot of days we are buying stuff online. We're going to Amazon and buying things, or we're seeing different advertisements on Instagram and want to buy things. Well, a lot of times you're going to need some type of credit card or something, so that way you can purchase those things. So that's another reason why, of course, you would want to have a bank as well. Another thing would be if you are, say, for example, a business owner. As a business owner, very difficult to function without having a bank account, right? Even if it's a small business, doesn't really matter the size of the business, but you want to be able to accept credit cards from, your clients, and you need a bank account really to process those. You also may get checks, that someone is paying you and you don't have time to go and deposit it, or you don't have time to go to a check cashing place in order to cash it. Well, the easiest route would be to just take a picture, mobile deposit it right into your bank account. So those are all some really good, important things that, you need to have a bank account in order to do those things. I would also say when you get paid, we're all getting checks, but the fastest and the quickest way is to have direct deposit. So easy to get that, direct your funds, your paycheck, direct deposit. You'll be surprised. I still have clients today that don't really offer direct deposit to their employees. So you've got a lot of employees. Sometimes I'll go out on site and visit them, and they have that conversation with me. Can you please convince them to set up direct deposit? So you still hear that. So that's a benefit to you as an employee, and really as a business owner as well, to be able to offer that to your employees. Mm-hmm. Several different things that a bank could offer. Say, for example, you have a document that's important. You need to get notarized. You can just go into a bank and get that document, notarized as well. So many different things. I can think of examples for days. Mm-hmm. You too, Sherry, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm still thinking of some, mm-hmm. Right? Yeah.
On why you would really need to have a bank account. And then, also banks have, different types of accounts. So say, for example, there's something that you're saving for. Maybe you're saving to purchase your new home, or you're saving to send your kids to school, or whatever the case may be. You want to have a safe vehicle to place those funds in, so that way you can earn some interest on your money. And then at the same time, have a goal and start reaching for that goal and deposit money into that savings account. And then, of course, a savings account, a checking account is so versatile. There's so many different types of checking account options, and we'll kind of go through that a little bit later. But, you may have some financial goals where you want to make sure that you're, balancing that account and using certain funds maybe for food, or you're using certain funds for household expenses, whatever the case may be. There's lots of checking account out there that will have those tools to help you balance it. So that way, where all your funds are allocated, and you can stay within whatever budget you have set for yourself. So those are all very good reasons on, why you would want to have a bank. In the event that, you need access to cash, you've got tons of flexibility when you have a bank account. Okay. To me, I would say one of the most important things really is to have a relationship with the bank. You want to have someone that you can kind of bounce different ideas on and have that trusted advisor. I'll kind of share with you a few examples on how, I try to be a trusted advisor to my clients. So I have, quite a few consumer clients. I also have business clients as well. And I have a business client who has been in business for a while, but really wanted to get some feedback because they were going to be pitching to a group of investors and wanted to figure out, okay, what's the best angle? What should I say? What should I not say? And really just kind of wanted to do kind of like a role play, just a test run with some bankers here at Dallas Capital Bank. So I was able to put a very strong team together, including our CEO, to help kind of, help them, have them pitch to them, and give them some good feedback. So that way, when they were ready to go and present to those investors, they knew the right words to say. They knew how maybe an investor may look at it from different perspectives. So that's what we try to do. And when you have that relationship with someone at a bank, then you're able to do those types of things. So those, I would say, is very important. And then, also as we've gone through, all of COVID, and we had lots of business owners who, everyone was impacted, right? Us personally, business owners, the whole economy was impacted. But as they rolled out the PPP loans, that I would say was very crucial for business owners to be able to have that relationship with us. So that way they had someone to kind of guide them through the process. When it was first rolled out, a lot of banks didn't have anything, in place, and you had clients trying to reach out to their bank and didn't know who to talk to. Mm-hmm. They were just being passed along from one number to the next number and just had no clue how to apply for these loans, or if they applied, what is the process? Where do I stand? Am I going to be able to get this money? Will I qualify? Did I fill out the paperwork correctly? There are so many different things that took place during that time. And I would say, I don't know about you, Sherry, but that's when I heard from my clients and new clients that we were able to get as well on how important it was to have that relationship with a bank. So that way someone can kind of hold their hand, because it was so new, on how they were going to proceed and stay in business and be able to pay employee salaries, and lots of different things. But I would say that was crucial. I think it was a big eye opener for a lot of people to realize why it was so important, to have that relationship with someone. I would say another reason on why you would want to use a bank is different financial goals that you may have. Say, for example, that you are looking to purchase a home in the next year or 2 years, or whatever the case may be. Well, a lot of times when you're looking to purchase a home, they want to see where, your down payment came from, right? So you would have to have proof and show bank statements and records of how long the money has been sitting there, where did the money come from? And then also, if you're looking to finance for that mortgage, having that relationship with the bank is very important. So that way we can walk you through the process of what it's going to look like. How's credit going to look? How's credit going to play a role in it? You having that relationship with someone for a while are so important, and things that they're going to look at when it's time to qualify for that loan. Mm-hmm. So many different examples I can talk about, but I would say it's so important to be able to have that relationship with the bank, whether it's with us or someone else, and we'll bounce some different ideas out there for everybody. But very important on why you should use a bank. If you're not using one, things to think about, you know.
Thank you.
Yeah,
you got this, girl. That was awesome. I love that. So, our goal with all of that is to really kind of narrow it down. We've talked about the bank. I mean, recap that really nicely. And so now it's understanding goals, but it's not necessarily understanding the bank's goals. It's also really fine tuning your goals, right? That's what this is really all about. And we wanted to make sure that sometimes we're always thinking about a bank or an online application as something that we don't really have any ownership of. And what we hope to do today is really help you understand that you have complete ownership of the process. So here are some ideas that we wanted to bounce off of you to help you understand that you really can be in the driver's seat. And honestly, I'd really encourage it, right? The last thing you want to do with any relationship is to start one and then get to know them. So these are some kind of things that we want to really help you think about and really feel comfortable with the fact that you can online, you can investigate some things as well as when you go into a location. So one of the things you do is almost kind of feel out, establish your needs. Do you need a location that's close or far? Do you need an account with more a personal reason, a personal slant, and then going into business ideas? Or do you really you've started a new business and you really want to start navigating those waters? Find the solution that fits for you. Some banks are very retail in focus. Some are very corporate in focus. It's easy to look on their website and find those things out. Use their drop-down menus. Use some of the information that they have. The other idea here is to determine your own financial goals. Do you need help with financial planning? What is needed to reach those goals? Like Jennifer was noting about services, a lot of these banks provide tools online that are pretty easy, that will graph out your goals, that will set some chart plans for you, that will do a lot of things to help with that, not only online, but those professionals at the banking centers or at the corporate offices with corporate lenders, they all come at it with various degrees and they bounce ideas off of one another. So just because you're maybe on the edge of growing your business significantly, or you're jumping up in real estate for a new home, use those advisors like Jennifer was referring to. The other one is really understanding your personal profile on services that work for you, right? And my husband and I, as an example, not to get too personal, he loves to write checks. He loves to balance the bank statement. I, on the other hand, I like to use all the bill pay services, right? I'm all about, automated clearinghouse. I love to use direct deposit so I can get my money in my account a little bit earlier. So he's a big saver. I'm a big spender. So in your family dynamics, it's really important to kind of understand those, that way you're asking things like, what are your online services? Do you have overdraft protection services? Do you have tiering? I've got a college kid that's going to be starting. I want to get a savings account for my college or the new business I'm about to start. So, and then the last, but I would not say least, is building relationships. Go into the banking center next to you and make sure it feels good, right? I mean, there's no reason for you as the client to feel like you're not getting the attention you deserve, that the bank isn't responsive. Banks are there to help you. Every professional out, in a banking center, they're really driven by helping you. So know that you're valuable and carry that with you when you go and have a conversation. The other thing that I wanted to kind of talk through is the banking options, right? We've really been focused on the bank side of things, right? Because we're trying to figure out, does a bank make sense? And, we've all gone to the online applications. There are all sorts of ways to do that. We've got some great banks who do that extremely well, which we'll talk about later. But when you're navigating these crazy waters, we've got the non-cash competitors, check cashing locations. A lot of folks use. They really do a very good service for those clientele who need that. There's a Discover Bank. I throw crypto, Bitcoin on there just because, I think it's super cool. So, and then for peer-to-peer lending, those are all those non-traditional, they're one-off, they're very transactionally based. And then for the traditional banks, there's all sorts of sizes, right? There's small banks, regional banks, large banks, and you guys know who those are. And then there's some banks that also provide really good online banking. So, once you decide what those needs are, Jennifer's gone through those service aspects based on what you can get from a bank that you may not be able to get from the non-traditional competitors. We are kind of thinking through in this regard a little bit more about banks are not the same. I clarified on bank size. But that's one easy target because you can always list the top 10 largest by size. But there's also some soft skills like a banking philosophy and how they approach things. Those are things that you can really see that come through with their websites, with even just going into a banking center. You can also, I would encourage you to look at their technology. Banks are really moving forward with a lot of great technology tools in regards to online banking options, the reporting, all the commercial account services that Jennifer was talking about earlier. They have great credit card options, debit card, all the way through credit card options. And it's not a one size fits all anymore. There are some banks will give you some pretty tight criteria, while others may have a little bit more flexibility. None of them tend to use the same platforms, so the nuances on how things look are different, but those websites will help you. The other thing that is about reputation, right? What kind of work do they do in our community? If that's important to you, I would push that envelope. What are they doing to help the community? What value are they adding to your neighborhood? Are people out? Don't be afraid to go on their Facebook pages and get to know your officers, because it is important to you. Is this a person and is this an institution that you can see yourself working with for a long time? Now, things change and, it's not a marriage, but it is something that, those folks are handling something that's very valuable to you. And we want to make sure that it's a good fit. So I'll move on to the next page, and Jennifer will kind of go through some research that we were able to find in order to kind of share that with you.
Yeah, so kind of like what Sherry was saying, I think the most important thing is figuring out your goals. And then once you figure out your goals, also coming back and figuring out what those banking options look like. There's so many banks. I think, what was that question at the beginning? 180 something. Yeah,
160, right.
In Dallas. So it's kind of crazy. So many different options. So there's going to be something out there that will fit what it is that you're looking for. It does exist. But we did a little bit of research to kind of give you a starting point if you are looking to open up a bank account. And I'll start with us, Dallas Capital Bank. I would say we're a great option on the consumer side if you do not have direct deposit. So like I said, I give you an example that I've got some clients that, business clients that don't offer direct deposit, unfortunately, to their employees. So you may not have that availability to receive the direct deposit because your employer is not set up for it. So on this account, it's something that is not required. You don't have to have direct deposit in order to open an account or really to avoid any type of monthly maintenance fee. None of us want to pay bank fees. I know I don't. Sherry, do you want to pay bank fees? Nobody does. So, you've got to find something out there that fits your needs. Because at the end of the day, you don't want to give money away, right? So we do not require direct deposit, and there's really no minimum balance on opening an account with us. Only have to open it with as little as $100, so not much at all, but it still has those bells and whistles with Zelle. A lot of us, like I mentioned earlier, you may want to have the option of reimbursing someone back using Zelle, or paying your lawn guy or paying your nanny or whatever the case may be. So that is an option on there. You can get your statements online, mobile app, do your deposits from your payroll, taking a picture of it. So offers still lots of flexibility. I will say there was another bank that I thought, had lots of flexibility as well. That was the Capital One option. Same thing. They did not offer a minimum deposit to open the account. There wasn't a minimum balance as well. So you didn't have to keep, $500 or $1,000 in the account, and had some pretty good options for opening your account online. So say, for example, you don't want to go the traditional route, or maybe you want to have the traditional route, but you don't have time to go into a banking center, where you can go online and open the accounts that way as well, to make it more flexible for you. And then on that one, I think they also gave the option of, sorry, I just clicked back. They also gave the option of no overdrafts, right? So sometimes things happen, unfortunately, and you forget that maybe you wrote a check, or you have an automatic debit coming from your account. They had an option on there that there were no charges for overdrafts on that account. There's also the Bank of America account. This one, same thing, kind of had a minimum opening balance of $100, free Zelle, debit card. You can do online or you can do in person. This one did have a direct deposit requirement. So say, for example, you're like, hey, there's a Bank of America right by my house. I like the flexibility of being able to go into a bank, also doing some things online. And I do have the direct deposit option. I think the direct deposit has to be like as little as $250 a month in order for that account to be waived. If not, I think there was a monthly cost of maybe $15 or something like that. And these are just things that we pulled off their website just to kind of give you guys a starting point. And then Chase as well had the option, kind of similar to Bank of America, where you did have to have the direct deposit on this one. I think it had to be a minimum of $500, so a little bit more than the Bank of America per month. And then if you didn't have that option, then you would get charged that $12 fee. So lots of options out there.
What was telling for us, and we wanted to just give you some highlights of kind of all that's out there. Banks get we have a lot of conversation around banks and big banks, and you read something about somebody all the time. But this gives you, I think, a hopeful, good outlook on what's out there. Challenge your bankers, talk to them, make sure that you're getting everything that you need in particular, because in the end, that's what we're hoping to do, right? And if you're looking at more commercial banks, there's kind of some more little nuances, but we just wanted to thank you for your time and open up the next few minutes that we have to any questions or comments. thoughts, we're happy to help try and speak to this thing called Bank 101.
Thank you so much. Does anybody have any questions? I was just going to ask you guys, where are your branches? Just if you can tell us where you're all located, the different branches.
So we are really unique in character in that we have one banking center in Dallas. We're at Spring Valley and the Toll Road. And it's a very strategic reason for our organization. We believe in high touch, so we are out seeing clients at all times. Rarely do they have to come in here, and if they do, we offer online services. We have RMs who will go out and visit clients and, you know, kind of handhold deposits coming through. And so we are really high touch, high technology, therefore one location.
Yeah, most of our clients are doing everything online. We have lots of business clients, and they prefer to do mobile deposits or having remote deposit in the convenience, you know, of their office. So a lot of times there's not really a need unless you're a heavy cash handler, right? Needing lots of cash to come to a bank.
Excellent, excellent. I just wanted to make sure if there were other locations. I've seen that one, of course. I just didn't know if there were others that I hadn't seen. So that's great information. The high touch and the hands-on and visiting clients is crucial to maintain that personal relationship. That's awesome that y'all do that. Very, very cool.
And I hope that everyone in our industry does that. You know, it is all about relationships, and you know, I like to think that all of us are doing similar things. So certainly, I hope we challenge our bankers to stretch and be really focused on the needs that you bring to the table.
Awesome. There's a question from Samantha in the chat. Can you see it, or I can read it, whichever is easier.
You can read it. That'd be awesome.
Okay. She says, thank you for this multi-pronged question. I'm looking to open my first account separate from my parents. I just graduated college. I will be making very little money, but my new landlord requires, let me scroll down, requires paper checks. So I need a checking account. What are things I should look for to match my needs and experience level? Great question, Samantha.
It really is.
Yeah, I'll answer that. So, Samantha, first of all, congratulations on, you know, soon opening your account and looking into coming and joining this and getting educated on, you know, what it is that you need to look for to open up your first bank account. But I went over several examples. I think it's great to look at where you are right now. But as you set those financial goals, also think about where you may be in the next year to 2 years. Because once you're in a bank and you make that decision, a lot of times you don't want to spend the energy to change to another bank. To answer your question on the checks exist. You know, you can still order checks, really, no matter where you bank. For the most part, you can order checks and you can write the rents off of a regular normal check, or he may take bill pay. So a lot of banks, like we do as well, will offer the bill pay option. So you may be able to send him a check using bill pay as well. And then a lot of times they may accept Zelle or may prefer it because it may get there a lot faster. They're not having to wait and check the mail, you know, looking for that check. So I would say probably look for a bank that's going to offer the Zelle option, also the bill pay option. And I would say for the most part, you're always going to be able to write a check. But I think that hopefully will, you know, answer some of your questions.
And if I can add to that, so I would just say also use the online tools that they give for reconciling on a daily basis. A lot of times, you know, folks who are just opening up an account, the debit cards kind of can get in the way. So make sure that is something that you're aware of, maybe even getting alerts on that account so that if you get below account threshold, that you know that, and it will kind of let you know. So, there's some tools that definitely be able to use, especially as your first account and you're not pulling with the support of a parent. Also banks, some of the banks, as you noted on the chart, also have overdraft protections. So that is a valuable tool for you because those charges can be pretty steep and painful. So for what that's worth. And the last thing I would add is just credit cards. I know you're already establishing your credit right now, but if I were to say, there are some cards out there, and banks do a really good job with helping kind of tailor that card so you limit your spends, because the payment cycles and the interest rate are pretty high. So, don't think that this is coming from a voice of experience. That's not a voice of experience talking. So anyway,
I will add to Sherry's point on the overdraft protection on debit cards. You can also opt out. So say, for example, you're at the store, you swipe the card and you don't have money in the account, you could block that. So you can sign up usually when you open your account to opt out of overdraft protection. So that way you don't incur any type of NSF charges. Yeah. Or also look for, if that were to happen on accident, look for a bank that maybe doesn't charge for the NSF fees as well.
Mm-hmm. Those are really, really excellent points. And I think one of the most important things you said was for Samantha to really check her accounts daily, not only just to make sure to keep up with what she's spending, but also for fraud. Yes. All of a sudden, you don't know, you've given your card at a restaurant and they walk away with it and they come back. And the next day you have charges on your bank account that you don't recognize. Somebody in the back room or at the register, they can write down your account number, they can write down your CVV number and your expiration date, and they're good to go. And you got to be, we all have to be trusting. We all have to be trusting. A lot of, I would say probably, what would you say, maybe like 80% of all vendors, businesses are now accepting the tap and pay, where you don't have to hand over your card. Some restaurants, you still do, but if you can pay at the table, or if they bring you a machine, most of the bank cards are now where you can tap and pay. I know we were just out of the country and we started to hand a waiter our card at a restaurant, and he's like, do not ever in this country hand your card to anyone. And every single place, we were in 2 countries, every single place, every single restaurant, every single store, we did not let go of our card. We just tapped it and paid. So that's a huge option. And I know most of the banks have that option now. When the back of the card, there's like a little insignia, right? That lets you do that. That's right. So, and there's places you're going to have to do it. Like some restaurants, they're going to say, no, my register's over there. I have to take your card, and I mean, you have to be 99.9% trusting, that nothing will happen because you don't have a choice. And over all these years, that's been the only choice, right? And now we're just getting smarter and smarter technologically. So just as an update on that, that was a big eye opener for us, for sure.
Good point.
Yeah,
really is a good point.
Yeah. So, great presentation. Does anybody else have any questions they might want to share out loud or in chat? Okay, anybody? Well, we want to thank both of you today, Jennifer and Sherry. Thank you so much for your great presentation. We will post this on our Building Financial Power website on the JFS main site. You just go to the Career and Financial Services and you'll find our Building Financial Power page. It will also be on YouTube. And so we are out there helping everyone, as much information as we can share, we do. And we thank you again so much. Our next month's presentations will be on mortgage, and we will have 2 presentations the first and third weeks of the month again as well. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining. And I'm going to put a poll out there real quick. You can tell us if you enjoyed, my polling is saying inactive. That doesn't make Let me, I don't know. Well, let me see something here to make myself, that's weird. Maybe we're not going to do a poll. Okay, let me, interesting. It's not letting me. Okay, well, we're not going to do a poll today. We hope that you enjoyed the presentation. And thank you so much. If you have any questions, please let us know. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.